Top 5 Boise State coaching candidates. Number 5, Ryan Dinwiddie, who is currently the coach of the Toronto Argonauts. And I don't know what CFL head coaching money is, but I do think that Mountain West coaching money could probably beat it a little bit. Plus, he's an alum. The Argonauts are, as Canadian football goes, a fun team to watch. And not to say that I've watched them a lot, but they do have a high-flying offense, and I will turn on a good CFL game occasionally because I do like the 3-down format. It's fun to me. But Ryan Dinwiddie could be a candidate. Look, if he wants to get back into the coaching in the States, then this would be a great one for him. Now, recruiting and all the other stuff would have to come with it. That's why I put him at 5, but he's a really interesting name on this that could maybe come out of nowhere.
Because of the Boise State connection.
Yeah, because
he's a former quarterback there and arguably the greatest quarterback in the history of the school. So, he's got that history there that would make a lot of sense and makes that tie. Because otherwise, it's like, why a random CFL coach? I mean, why is the Toronto Argonauts guy being considered for this college football coaching job? But there is that connection there. So, with that background and familiarity, that'd be an interesting choice. I don't know the last time, if ever. I'm sure it's happened at some point in the long history of college football. But a CFL coach jumping to go take a college football coaching job, I can't think of that off the top of my head. But that would be an interesting move and would have to reacclimate to the American rules of football, get a little bit of a smaller field there. But, I'm sure that familiarity will go a long way and his background as well. So, that's an interesting name.
So where did he play college ball?
Boise State.
Kellen Moore, the best quarterback you've ever had?
Hold on. Let's pause. Let's let the list happen. Let's let the list happen.
Breathe.
Yeah. Number 4, Ryan Grubb from Washington, doing a great job there. Is from he was on Kellen DeBoer's staff. He's been up to the Mountain West. Really highly thought of. If you're looking for the guy who, the Power 5 coordinator to G5 head coaching job to, follow his head coach's path in Kellen DeBoer, it's probably Ryan Grubb right there on his own staff and recruits that part of the country. They've recruited the Mountain West and done well, obviously, with the Fresno State gig. But Ryan Grubb from Washington, also a candidate to watch when it comes to this.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of the assistant head coaches and the coordinators that are going to start getting play of not the normal names that we hear. And so, with Washington's success, that makes a lot of sense with his history over in that part of the country. That makes a lot of sense as well. South Dakota guy. Guy's been in the game for the last couple decades and made a nice little mark for himself and is obviously on a great run with the Huskies right now. So, not too far away and interesting name to roll with. I was looking, though, at the Boise State thing. Yeah, Kellen Moore would probably have that title now, but Dinwiddie still got single-season passing record, single-game passing record. I mean, Moore's got the career. Brett Rippon now has more career yards as well, so Dinwiddie in that regard is like
just
number 3.
Left Jared Zabransky out of the conversation altogether.
He's not anywhere near.
Kellen Moore's deal was that when he retired, he was the all-time winner and broke Colt McCoy's record, I believe, for most wins in a career. And, of course, that I'm sure I'm not sure if anyone's just passed that by or not.
But I did want to mention, though, we were talking about the carousel and all that. When the whole Oregon State, Washington State thing happened yesterday, did y'all see Jeremiah Dickey's tweet? Basically like, here we go. Yeah. And so the timing of it, there's no way that wasn't timed to be in reaction. There's no way that was a coincidence that he was reacting the way that he did. And it wasn't like, we're going to the Pac-2 or anything, but it was very much of like, all right, here we go. This is Boise State's chance if they're going to rebuild the Pac. That's how I took it. I think that's how most people took it. So that'll be something to watch. But, he's also got to hire a football coach here. Yeah. So
Number 3, Jeff Choate, who is the co-DC and linebackers coach at Texas right now. He is not a Boise State grad. He is I'll give you guys one guess each where Jeff Choate went to college.
Georgia Tech.
No.
I have no idea.
He went to Montana Western.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So he went to Montana Western. He's a linebacker there at Montana Western. He coached there for a little while. He's coached at Boise State in a couple different stretches. He's been at Wazoo, Florida, Washington, Montana State as the head coach. And then now he's been the last few years at Texas under Steve Sarkisian, who he's with at Washington before. This is a Montana guy, through and through. And so would not be a surprise, especially given how well Texas defense has played and his big part in that. He's the linebackers coach. He coaches Jalen Ford, who, if I were to rank the linebackers in this draft 1, 2, 3, I would say Barrett Carter, Jalen Ford. No, Jeremiah Trotter, Jalen Ford, Barrett Carter. Two of those guys are at Clemson, but Jalen Ford is fantastic. So Jeff Choate could get some play here.
Okay, Jalen Ford was last year as good as anybody. And obviously that defense with all that massive beef in front of him that's so good, it just makes him more opportunities for him to roam.
Yeah, I mean, it just clears the way immensely for those linebackers. But, Ford's a stud. He's not a guy that I'm sure in Austin it's different, but it's different whenever you're like in the hometown talking about the team. But I mean, broadly, it's not a name that you hear very much off of that staff. But there are guys very deserving of opportunities, and especially when you get these winning staffs or teams that are having a lot of success, it's only natural that they're going to spring off. And so, I mean, it's a logical candidate there given his background, and probably deserves a little bit more attention just for what they've been able to do. On the defensive side of the football, and linebackers obviously very good, as you mentioned.
Number 2, Kellen Moore. Now, obviously, he is with the Chargers right now, and he's interviewed for some head coaching jobs, but he would be I know when they hired Andy Avalos, they talked to him then. I don't know how long down the road, but I know the interest was gauged the last time he was there. He is I think it's a job he would take. I don't know, again, if he's very successful at it, then the NFL is always just going to come calling for him again because he's shown he can be a head coach. He's shown he can be a coordinator. And I don't know if anybody's going to come calling for him this year for head coach interviews, and they might. The Chargers are so up and down. They've had a ton of injuries and all that, but I think their whole coaching staff's about to get fired, because Brandon Staley's going to go.
They suck, man. That's such a forgettable franchise right now. Yeah.
And so
with Herbert as a quarterback,
too.
I mean, he's good, but just as a whole, they are just so they're just there.
Yeah.
And I say sometimes about teams, they're just there.
Yeah. So I think he might feel pretty free to move on from that and go to a Boise State, and he is the favorite son. I mean, he's the all-time winningest quarterback. He's a really good play caller and coach. So this is something I think he totally would do. But again, the circumstances all have to be right.
Yeah, it's timing, right? As they're talking about Dan Campbell with A&M, maybe at another time you go have a head coaching search and Dan Campbell is just a layup of a choice and he's got an easy decision to make because of where he is in his career. But right now as head coach of a surging Lions team is not the time to go jump to the college ranks and jump into the SEC fray. But for Kellen Moore, maybe it is. They're near 500, so they're not vying for the first pick, but they're not going to win their division with the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Broncos. They're the worst team in that division when all is said and done, you would think. Or 3 at best.
Yeah.
But, there's not – I guess it would all just depend on timing in his life and how much he enjoys, coaching Justin Herbert. But, again, Brandon Staley seems like he's a foregone conclusion to be out of there pretty soon. So, you would think the timing might be right. The only thing is, do you want to – you are a Boise State legend. You will always be. But do you want to do the Scott Frost thing?
Yeah. No.
Do you want to be Scott Frost potentially? And so the competitor
or Brady Hoke at Michigan or
any another number of examples. So do you want to be that guy? And I'm sure someone in his position, you've got the confidence that you will do a good job and you won't be that guy. But that's just the only thing that makes me pause.
Yeah. And number 1, obvious choice. He's not doing anything right now. He was really good at your place before. Bryan Harsin.
Do the old Bill Snyder here?
Yeah.
Coming back.
Look, he went to Auburn because why wouldn't you try to go to the SEC and do that? And then he wound up in a place that's the craziest place ever. And
Opelika, Alabama, right?
It's just, there is, and I don't mean to dog on Auburn. They've had a fine history. They've won national title, all of those things. But
you better but your mentions are going to be.
But and they should
Catalina.
know. They should know this.
It's a beautiful town.
No, it is. No, I'm not saying anything about the town.
You were about to.
No, I'm talking about the alumni who have the.
Yourself.
No, I've been to Opelika. It's nice. But the alumni and the way that they have the little brother syndrome.
No kidding.
Compared to like A&M to Texas, Auburn's got that just, if they walked up to the table in Vegas and A&M put their little brother syndrome chips down, they'd be like, here we go. And Auburn's like, oh, yeah, I'll see that and raise you.
Auburn's chips are more valuable.
Exactly.
No.
So, yeah, they're just absolutely little brother syndrome and got rid of Bryan Harsin. So I think he's back living there still. So you wouldn't even have to, give him a moving allowance. Just bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, he's the obvious choice. That would make a lot of sense for all parties, especially if he's still wanting to coach. And, Bill Snyder had to come back and save K-State, right, when they were floundering under, Ron Prince. Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure Harsin is as well equipped as anybody. Who could be better equipped to come back and try to get this thing righted? So I'm sure that's right there near the top of Jeremiah Dickey's list. Got a big decision to make, obviously, because – you hired Avalos and that didn't work out, and now you got to hire another guy, and this one needs to work out for you, and we're big fans of his. So, Bryan Harsin, that seems like a no-brainer if it were to go that direction. That would not be surprising.
All right, Garrett, thank you very much. Jack McKenzie, Emery Winter, Levi Caraway, every weeknight